We're here at the Intelligent System Conference 2025, live from Amsterdam. I'm here with Patrick Brandtner. Patrick, welcome.
Thank you.
Can you tell me a bit about your academic journey?
Yes, of course. Thanks for having me here. Thanks for the invitation for the interview. My academic journey started in the year of 2011, when I finished my master's study degree in supply chain management.
Yeah.
And back then I thought I want to increase my knowledge. I want to also do a PhD. Started in the area of digital business management and elaborated on how you can use data analytics, like databases from Google Scholar, for example, or patent databases in strategic innovation management. Finished my PhD in this context, and then I moved, since maybe the last 8 years, very strongly into the direction of applying artificial intelligence in supply chain management and in logistics decision context. For example, demand prediction of supplier reliability, optimization of inventory levels.
And that brings us by today.
Exactly.
And you will be presenting a paper. What is it about?
So the paper will focus on how companies adopted their forecasting mechanisms, their forecasting approaches during COVID-19.
Did they do that?
They did. They had to do. Otherwise, some wouldn't have the possibility to use the huge explosion of the increased demands, and others wouldn't have been able to struggle with the downfall of demand.
Makes sense.
And we investigated what types of new approaches they used. For example, not trust on AI so much as a decision tool alone, but combine it more with senior management knowledge to include those disruptive situations and scenarios that we saw in COVID-19. It was a very interesting study we did back then with 5 Austrian companies. And for future disruptive events, maybe we have COVID-31 or 32.
Please no.
Hopefully not, but other companies could take a look at those results and then learn how they could also adjust their demand forecasting algorithms.
So can you share an interesting conclusion? What is there to learn?
An interesting conclusion is that demand was so volatile, basically, that the companies didn't trust on AI as they did in the past. They did a hybrid approach, basically. They used AI to predict on a 6 to 7 months level in terms of total quantities, for example. Then they froze that level and used a second form of models to make short-term daily and weekly predictions to adjust daily production schedules, for example. But they didn't touch the big frozen horizon, because that would lead to huge fluctuations and the need for big investments, which then 1 month later or 2 months later could already be completely different.
Okay, makes sense. Was there anything other that was interesting or weird that came up during your research?
In general, yes. One time we had an interesting project with a big company from Austria, nearly 3 billion turnover. And we did a network analysis of the complete network of suppliers, their internal bill of materials to the final customer. And the goal was to analyze dependencies between those companies. And usually you would expect that the suppliers of very high value materials would be the most critical ones. But what we found out, it's basically there are certain materials, like packaging materials, which is involved in every product. If you don't have that type of packaging material, you cannot sell your product because you cannot pack it. And we basically defined a metric called revenue at risk. If you don't have one specific material, how much revenue, how much products are at risk. And the most critical one, involved in 80% of all products, was a simple packaging foil, low-level article, and you could easily stock that for 2, 5, 6 years ahead
without having too much.
Exactly, and you're safe for this material.
So that's something to learn and handle on.
Exactly, not focus on the value of materials, but also on the amount of how much they are involved in the variety of your project.
Makes perfect sense. Now you mentioned it might be used again, the model during COVID or some other crisis, but this would be applicable sort of always, it seems to me. Exactly, completely true. The learnings that we have in the paper basically are always applicable when you have changed market conditions. And the network analysis I just mentioned are always relevant for companies. We focus on supply chain management. If you define the supply chain as the connected network of the raw material supplier,
till the end customer, you have a huge amount of information.
Yeah.
And our goal basically is to identify those steps in the chain and analyze it holistically in an overarching way to optimize the complete supply chain and not only the small silos of the companies.
Yeah.
Currently, most companies optimize their departments and then the company as a whole, but the overarching optimization is quite low.
Okay. Now you did this research, you have your findings. Will companies start using it?
They already did.
Okay, that's good.
They already did, or we already did for them.
Yeah.
Because we are a University of Applied Sciences. So we are strongly driven by industry needs. We cooperate with big companies in automotive sector, building sector, in the retail sector. And what we do for one company, and if that is also applicable for another one, we directly analyze if those models, if those approaches can also be used in this context.
Yeah.
I did a project once for logistics company, AI-based optimization of loads, transportation company, and we presented it at the conference, and a retail company and an industrial company came and said we need the exact same thing, although it's a completely different industry because the tool set, the models are applicable in a variety of settings.
Okay. So about the conference, how's the conference so far?
So far the conference is very nice, very well organized. We have a lot of different topics. So I'm more from a business perspective, like business informatics, and we have medicine background currently going on, the smart healthcare section. We have more like also mathematical and data science oriented talks.
Is that so interesting for you?
For me it's interesting, although I do not completely understand the complete granularity of each and every paper, because you have to be from the domain somehow. But yeah, actually every talk so far there were some interesting insights that can also be applicable to my context of work in a business setting.